In 2019, in Yosemite National Park, a 29-year-old tourist from New York named Sean went on a solo hiking trip. He reached a popular viewpoint, Taft Point, located at the edge of a cliff more than 900 meters high. The spot's known for its breathtaking views and dangerously close drop-offs with no guardrails. Sean decided to take a selfie. He set up his camera on a tripod, started the timer, and slowly stepped backward towards the edge while looking into the lens. According to witnesses, he got too close, slipped on loose gravel, and fell straight off the cliff into the canyon below. His body was found the next day, more than 250 meters down. In 2016, in the state of Florida, a 34-year-old man named Michael decided to go alligator hunting with his friends. Despite warnings from local authorities, he was confident that he knew the swamps like the back of his hand and didn't need a guide. Not even a boat, just a flashlight and a machete. Towards the evening, he spotted an alligator near the shoreline and decided to get closer. As soon as he waded knee-deep into the water, he began waving his machete and shouting things like, "Who's the top predator now?" Seconds later, the alligator lunged from the water and grabbed him by the leg. His attempts to break free were unsuccessful. The animal dragged Michael deeper into the swamp. In 2012, in the state of Indiana, a 36-year-old man named Randy was working at an auto repair shop. During his lunch break, he stepped outside to smoke. Instead of using a regular lighter, he brought a brand new torch-style lighter he had just bought and wanted to show off to his co-workers. The problem was that behind him stood an open 200-liter barrel containing leftover gasoline, which had been drained from a car the day before. Randy knew it was there but waved it off, saying, "It's fine, I'm far enough away." A few seconds later, the flame reached invisible gas fumes and there was a sudden flash of fire. The explosion engulfed his clothing, and despite his co-workers reacting quickly with a fire extinguisher, the burns were critical. In 2013, in the state of North Carolina, a 32-year-old man named Chad went to a lake with friends to relax and have fun. After a couple of hours of swimming and drinking, the group noticed a sign that read, "Caution, shallow water, cliff jumping is prohibited." But Chad, wanting to show off, told his friends that everything would be fine, and he climbed up to a cliff about 8 meters high and made a dramatic running jump. However, the water level that day was lower than usual due to the heat, and when Chad jumped, he hit his head on the bottom and lost consciousness. His friends pulled him out and called an ambulance, but it was too late. He died from a spinal injury and drowning. In 2008 in Chicago, a 58-year-old man named Larry Powell was playing bowling with his friends. He was an avid player and loved to throw the ball with maximum power and speed to impress those around him. That evening, he was trying especially hard, shouting, swinging his arms, and attempting to spin every shot like a pro. During one of these throws, he slipped on the edge of the lane, which was slightly wet, lost his balance, and fell backwards onto a bowling ball that was behind him. The impact hit him directly in the spine. He stood up a joke saying, "I won't do that again," but just a couple minutes later, he lost consciousness. The blow had caused an internal artery to rupture, which led to his death. In 2011, a 24-year-old man from Cincinnati began complaining of severe tooth pain. He had been afraid of dentists since childhood and always postponed visits. Even when the pain became unbearable, when the tooth began to rot, he tried to numb the pain with painkillers and alcohol, even rinsing his mouth with whiskey, hoping to burn out the infection. After a few days, his face had become swollen and developed a fever, but he still refused medical help. The infection spread from the tooth to his jaw, and then into the soft tissues of his neck. An angular abscess formed, a pus-filled inflammation that blocked his airway. As soon as he realized he could no longer breathe properly, he finally decided to call an ambulance, but before the medics arrived, he suffocated. In 2019, in an English city, a 38-year-old man decided to make some quick money. He specialized in stealing catalytic converters from cars. These parts contain precious metals like palladium and platinum and are in high demand on the black market. That night, Gary targeted a parked Honda and crawled under it with a jack and some tools. He began cutting off the converter, hoping he could sell it within minutes for a few £100s. However, he made a fatal mistake. He didn't use any safety supports and relied solely on a cheap jack. At some point, the device slipped, the car collapsed on top of him, crushing his chest. In 2013, at the University of Pittsburgh, a 19-year-old student named Zach was taking part in a traditional night tour of the campus for freshmen. Everything was lighthearted. Upperclassmen were showing the buildings and teasing the newcomers. On one of the upper floors, the group stepped out onto the maintenance balcony. Someone joked, "You could totally jump to the roof of the next building from here," and Zach decided to find out. He said, "I'll jump and go down in history." Then he took a running start and leapt across a narrow gap. But he misjudged the distance and angle. He missed the edge by just half a meter, slipped, and fell between the two buildings. The drop was about 4 stories. Students below heard a dull thud. In 2011, in California, a 28-year-old man named Justin was working as a warehouse loader. During lunch, some of his coworkers decided to play around a bit. One of them accidentally bumped bumped into a fire extinguisher, which released a loud burst of carbon dioxide with a sharp hissing sound. Justin, not realizing it was a fire extinguisher, thought it was a gas leak or an explosion and panicked. He ran out of the room, but in the wrong direction. He headed towards the back door that led to a fire escape, not knowing the staircase had been removed for repairs. In the dark, he kicked open the door and stepped forward, straight into empty space, falling from the 3rd floor. In 2014, in Las Vegas, a 23-year-old man named Cody was hanging out by the pool at his friend's private house. After a few drinks, he decided to test whether the drain at the bottom of the pool was working. At first, he placed his hand near it and felt the suction. Then, laughing, he decided to lower his head. The problem was that the drain was indeed active and creating a strong suction. When he leaned in too close, his long hair got pulled into the pipe and he couldn't break free. At first, his friends thought he had dived underwater as a joke, but when they realized he wasn't coming back up, it was already too late. He was pulled out only after the filtration system was shut off 6 minutes later.